Welcome to the Extraordinary Leadership Podcast. This is a place for you if you aspire extraordinary, fueled with inspiration, meaningful conversations, and valuable insights that are going to support your journey of becoming an extraordinary leader and making truly a difference in your organization and living a desired life. My name is Dagmara Asbreuk, and I am your host in this show, and I'm also founder and CEO of Extraordinary Leadership. I'm bringing you exceptional leaders, change makers from different industries, sharing their stories, and above all, what made them most successful, impactful, and happy. I'm also sharing my discoveries from navigating and leading 15 years in a corporate world, building my business, and empowering senior and executive leaders to go to their next level with their organizations and in their lives. I hope that you are excited and ready, so let us begin. Welcome to this very special episode of Extraordinary Leadership Podcast. You see, it's episode number 11, and I want to acknowledge that we have done 10 amazing episodes so far since launching in May, and it's time to celebrate those 10 episodes. You know, I'm first of all grateful for all the people that watch us on YouTube and listen us in Spotify and Apple and Amazon. And thank you very much for your comments, for sharing that, for listening, for contributing as well to share the voice, for sharing that with others, and so that we can reach literally more leaders and transform more lives in organizations. Secondly, I want to thank, first of all, to all the guests that has already been contributing to this podcast, and especially to those that you already had a chance to listen to and meet in this journey, but also for those that already have contributed and you will be able to listen to their stories very, very soon in upcoming episodes. I also want to thank my editor, who is helping me to make this podcast so fantastically looking, especially on YouTube as well, helping me to create more ease and flow with releasing each time this podcast. Because I will tell you, yes, there is some work included in creating this podcast, and definitely having someone to help you with that is so valuable. So I'm grateful also to my editor, who is helping me to make this podcast engaging. I also want to celebrate myself for launching this podcast and spreading through this podcast what's most essential, what's most needed in our world, in our organizations, and for us leaders. And I'm grateful for this podcast that is raising the awareness and widening the lens of what we really need in order to be successful, impactful, and happy leaders, and creating more connection, collaboration, or building great organizations when people thrive, can unleash their potential, grow, and through that make a bigger impact in society, to our customers, and in the world. So thank you very much for enabling me to realize my mission and purpose with this podcast. And the reason why I'm also launching this episode and celebrating the past episode is because we need to learn to celebrate more. You know, so many leaders are celebrating only the biggest wins, and we need to get into the so-called success consciousness here and celebrate all the little stunts, all the little wins, and all the learnings as well from these journeys. So I want to celebrate all of that today with this episode. And definitely there has been learnings for me personally, and what I want to celebrate today and share with you as those 10 fantastic episodes, which each of them is unique at its style and carry a different insight, carry a different wisdom and invitation for you to step in, growing and expanding yourself to your absolute level of I'm also celebrating the learnings that I have in this journey of hosting this podcast and organizing this podcast. And definitely one of the biggest learnings for me was how to bring more ease and flow in this podcast. And so, for example, it has been letting go of some aspects, which I noticed it doesn't really contribute me in order to release this podcast, to make this podcast from the space of ease and flow, which I stand for. And we had a learning curve as well with my editor on how to make this podcast engaging and impactful, and at the same time from the space of ease and with effectively transmitting the most important. So that has been also letting go of certain expectations here in this podcast and making it more fluid has been definitely also one of the learnings for me. I also want to celebrate bringing more structure and conceptualization in this podcast. I want to give you a brief walk of these 10 episodes so that you may want to re-listen or watch some of them that has caught your attention. And, you know, in each of these episodes, there's so much value and so much insights that sometimes it's good to re-listen or rewatch them. And when we, by the way, re-listen or rewatch something, we definitely are going always to find something new, something that we haven't catched in a first time. If you haven't watched or listened to any of the previous episodes and you are new to Extraordinary Leadership Podcast, then it's a fantastic way to have a short overview of what each episodes were about and helping you to identify which of those episodes you might want to tune in as first for yourself. So without further ado, and in the spirit of celebrating, let me walk you through the 10 first episodes. So I kicked this Extraordinary Leadership Podcast with a first episode sharing from my side the 10 transformational lessons from my journey so far. So here are the key impressions of it. And I'm going also to share with you the 10 lessons I've learned in my journeys. Your potential is limitless, and that you are a much more powerful version of yourself than you think you are today. Step in it and discover so much about yourself that you don't know today. It's going to make you a much more powerful, impactful, and successful leader than you are today. Your state of being, your energy is impacted by your mind, by your emotions, and by your belief systems, by your values, as well as your physical energy. So the question is, are you role modeling the behaviors that you want to see in your organization, in your culture? The episode 2 was all about how you can foster unity, connection, and growth in your organization. And I had a pleasure to invite in this conversation Andreas Boist, who is the CEO of GCP Services, and whom I had the pleasure to guide in his journey of transforming from within and embodying extraordinary leadership. And in this episode, he has shared with us the key ingredients to his success and especially what helped him to foster more growth and connection and unity in his organization. So here are the key impressions.
Grow and become a person that is tomorrow going to be in a better position to serve others than I am today. I have made quite quick steps up the career ladder and into leadership positions that, despite I think having good structure already and reflecting on myself and having a partner that helps me reflect together with her, I felt like I wanted to get outside input to help me to ensure that I grow as fast as I can, because the faster I grow, the faster I can move into a position where I can be a better help and a better support for the people around me. And I need to take care of more than 100 people here. And I don't want to let them down by saying I am too cautious or I don't invest enough time into my own development. And so for me, it was clear that if there's a chance, I can develop myself better to be a better CEO for the people of this company and to be a better support for them, then I should take it.
The episode 3 brought us to a meaningful conversation with Brent Melvin, who is an experienced executive currently holding a role as a GM in RSA here in the Middle East, and who has shared with us his story, his pivotal shifts made a difference to how he lead and make him more effective. And we had a beautiful conversation about how to foster collaboration and empowerment in the organization. Here are the key impressions.
From that point forward, I took on this persona of being leadership, but as a leader, my job is to support. Powering is part of that supporting. My engagement with people was now a very different picture. As opposed to blasting these poor people, I was enabling them, making sure that part of planning, they had a contribution towards a success. And that truly was a pivotal moment for me in terms of how to think. So I moved out of this autocratic military style of management into now trying to lead and plan and prepare and just be better overall at the whole people side of things. So the big thing for me is I understand that an organization is simply an organization until it has people. Then it becomes a business. Then you empower those people to perform and it becomes successful. So it's building blocks. But without people, what are we? A bunch of robots?
The episode 4 brought us to an important topic for leaders on mind and emotions management for impactful and effective leadership. And I had a true honor to invite Irene Vilar, and I'm grateful for her authenticity and vulnerability in sharing her journey of developing that mind and emotions mastery for herself and the impact it has on herself, unleashing also her potential and how she shows up and how she leads. I had an honor to guide her personally in the journey of embracing and mastering mind and emotions. So here are the key impressions from that episode.
I was putting the bar too high. That was never enough for me. I started to feel a lot of negative emotions. I was holding myself back. And every idea that I have, I thought, yeah, why are you going to say that? Don't say it. This is not important for this topic. You need to know every single detail before you can contribute. I was pushing to myself a lot. It was only a vicious cycle. I was blaming myself. I started to have pain almost all over the place, my stomach. I couldn't sleep. I was not having any happy moment, visiting all the doctors.
What did you discover in this journey that we went through?
I discovered myself. I wouldn't say rediscovered. I discovered a lot of things that I have, the tools that I can use that I've never used it before, and the positive impact that all these tools have in my state of mind, in my body, that has helped me to read people and to read myself, plus the habits that we have discussed and I established. I like it and they help me. It really, it has increased my potential and my impact tremendously. It's something that I cannot really quantify how I've changed thanks to that.
Episode 5 brought me to conversate with Andrea Petrone, who is an executive coach and performance coach and coach to many C-level leaders. And I really, truly enjoyed to hear Andrea's story and also pivotal shift, stopping to being invincible and becoming more humble leader. And as well, we have this amazing conversation about shifting identity and managing mind narratives, which are so fundamental for being great leaders and creating great legacy. We also spoke about the key challenges that executives face and how to overcome them. So here are the key impressions from that episode.
Identity is just a narrative. It's nothing that is attached to you that you can change because that's how you are and you are built that way. There is all this, noise coming from media, maybe from education, etc. That says that's who you are. You can't change. You can change few things, but your core identity will never change because that's you're done in certain ways, a part of your DNA. I don't believe it. I don't buy it. What I buy is your core personal values will probably never change, and they're not supposed to change. But whatever is not core, there is going to be a really fluid change for yourself. It's something that you learn about yourself, and you change it based on how the different purposes, come to life in any certain point.
Episode 6 brought me to share with you the 10 characteristics of extraordinary leaders. And I had a great pleasure to summarize it with you in that episode for your own reflection of identifying where are you on this journey and elevating your potential, your impact and effectiveness in leading your organization, leading your teams. So check out for things that we covered in that episode. Who are extraordinary leaders in terms of characteristics, in terms of traits that distinguish or make a leader extraordinary? I believe that if we have more extraordinary leaders in the world, we are going to transform ourselves as human beings, as leaders, and we are going to transform our organizations, our teams, our communities, and I believe set the new standard for the new generation to come. How would that be for you if you could be that extraordinary leader? In episode 7, I shared with you the key elements in the journey of becoming an extraordinary leader, because I guess this is what you are here for in this podcast. And I shared with you the 5 enablers that are part of this journey of becoming an extraordinary leader and elevating yourself, growing yourself and your organization to the next level. Here are a couple of them. One thing is to create your vision from a profound, powerful place within. But the second is also to bring it into reality. And the most profound strategy into realizing your vision is to evolving yourself and becoming that version of yourself that is going to realize that. And it's not about faking until you make it. It's really a process of rewiring yourself on many different levels, on a mind, on energy, on emotions, on how you take decisions, how you show up, how you think, how you respond. We are all energy, and energy is basically impacted by our mind, by our belief system, by our assumptions, by everything that is in our subconscious. And so when we know how to shift inside, we are shifting our energy, and shifting our energy, we unleash a different energy in a system, in our organizations. People respond to us in a completely different manner. In episode 8 with Dr. Ibrahim Al-Hajir, who is a prominent HR leader in the Middle East and author of Hacking Your Mind, we have dived into a mastery of our inner world, into the aspects of our subconscious mind, emotions, energy, quantum physics. Oof, this conversation has been rich. And reveals to you elements of transforming ourselves from within, which is an enabler of transforming our organizations. Here are the key impressions from this one. What is the awareness of energy giving us?
The more you work on yourself, the more you are changing your energy. And the more you are changing your energy, people will feel something else. So when we say projects, transformations, different type of tasks, problems, issues, your energy will impact those things. And by using your observation, you are actually changing the pattern of every single atom around you. Either it's solid or it's not. Either it's things or it's projects or something related to you as a health. That's why it's very important to focus on our energy. Me, personally, I wake up every day at 4:30 a.m. I have a 2 hours program to change my energy. I want to wake up with high frequency. When I wake up with high frequency, I can do everything easily.
Episode 9 was all about unlocking exponential growth with the power of energy. And I had an honor and pleasure to have in this conversation Lenka Lutonska, who is Master of Business Energetics and an author of marketing and an author of energetic selling and marketing. And in this conversation, we dived into pragmatic aspects of how energy impacts literally everything in our businesses, in our organizations, in our lives, how to tap to a higher mind, which is bringing us to more intuitive and best aligned decisions. And above all, what is this power of energy? And this is what we revealed.
Everything is energy, even though we perceive the world as I am separate from the world, I'm separate from this table, I'm separate from you. On subatomic level, it's all energy vibrating at different frequencies, interacting with each other. So we are deeply connected through energy with everything and everyone. Our energy field is, the values that we hold, beliefs that we hold, who we know that we are, and that I call sometimes our human mind, program mind, comfort zone, current self. It's got many, many names, but this is who we currently are. But what's beyond that lower mind is the higher aspect of ourselves, beyond the logical mind. And it's the mind that we tap into when we are visioning, when we open our mind and go beyond what is possible. So this is essentially also aspect of our energy, but essentially, to me, this is the synonymous for the soul, the full self.
And finally, the episode 10 was all about shifting the paradigm in leadership, transforming from within and embodying the extraordinary leadership, which I have such an honor to share you about and invite you to journey to elevate your consciousness, your impact, your success without the need to compromise your relationships, and building that transformational mindset and skills that are truly making a difference in leading your organizational changes and unleashing the potential and growing your organization in a sustainable way to the next level. And here are the key insights. Only 15% of people in our organizations are truly engaged. Every 1 of 4 to 5th employee is facing burnout or mental health issues. Only 20% of individuals and teams are really truly unleashing their potential. I truly believe that this is a time for a change of how do we lead ourselves as leaders and how do we lead our organizations so that we can build sustainable organizations, grow ourselves, thrive as leaders, and holistically in life, unleash this untapped potential within our organizations for far greater impact and results in business and beyond. It all starts within ourselves, with the state of consciousness we lead from and how we navigate that complex inner world, which directly reflect how we lead, how much we empower or not empower our people, how much we motivate and inspire. And when we marry that with the mindset and skills which are transformational to lead our organization, then we can talk about a new paradigm of leadership, which is so much more potential, empowering, which is the catalyst for ourselves and for our organizations to transform. And leading. So I hope you enjoyed all of these 10 episodes, and each of these little snippets revealed here help you to identify which one you want to rewatch or watch. I had a great pleasure to record and host all of these episodes and share with you those different stories from change makers, also from my life, as well as invite you to these beautiful journeys of transforming from within and embodying extraordinary leader. For many of us, it's a summertime. We're going to enjoy travels and maybe meeting with our friends, with our families, and different adventures. It is the same for me. I'm going to travel in 6 countries in Europe, visiting families, visiting friends, and visiting new places. And while I'll be enjoying my vacation, you'll be receiving new episodes of Extraordinary Leadership podcast. So I invite you to tune into this podcast. And if you would like to be a guest on this show of Extraordinary Leadership podcast, please visit my website, and on the page podcast, you can register to be also a guest in this show, sharing your stories, wisdom, and lessons that you want to pass to others. Once again, thank you very much for listening to this episode, this celebration episode. Celebrate with me. Thank you very much once again for all that contributed to this past 10 episodes and the next to come. And I'm wishing you a fantastic start of a break, of a summer break. Keep on watching, keep on listening this fantastic podcast here. Share it with others who you think would benefit from listening to here. And remember, be the change that you want to see and choose to be extraordinary. Thank you.